welcome to episode 11 of A Lady Well Traveled. I'm your host and creator, Shannon Bednarova, and if you're new to the podcast, here we talk about all things travel, and we do so with logic, humor, and some good old southern sass. For those of you who've been following along, I've just returned to the United States from a 2-month-long trip abroad, so I feel qualified to discuss my next topic: how to arrive at your destination with the fewest wrinkles and the least luggage. Now, I understand that most trips won't be for a length of 8 weeks. Some certainly may be longer, but the vast majority of trips abroad that we're going to pack for, they'll probably be in the 10-day to 3-week range. Now, how do you fit all those clothes, shoes, hats, accessories, makeup for ladies, etc., into your luggage in the least amount of space with the fewest wrinkles so that you arrive with your clothes looking fresh and ready to wear? Today, I'm going to discuss the use of packing cubes, vacuum cubes, rolling your clothes while packing, using tissue paper between your clothes while rolling to prevent wrinkles, or simply folding your clothes into your suitcase the old-fashioned way. And I'm going to compare and contrast these methods for both luggage space optimization and wrinkle prevention. So let's start with packing cubes. You can find these basically at any luggage store, online, at Amazon, at big box stores that sell luggage, or any store that sells travel accessories. If you're unfamiliar with packing cubes, they're simply expandable plastic cubes or rectangular plastic boxes in various sizes that you can put your folded clothes into. When the cube is full, then you seal it by zipping or squeezing air out and then closing them so they take up less room in your suitcase. They help you to organize and pack your clothing according to days, weeks, or type of activity. If you still have no idea what I'm talking about, just Google them and you'll quickly get the idea of what they are. Now, I know many people who swear by the use of packing cubes because they say it keeps them organized and they can fit a lot of clothing into their suitcase or backpack that they want to take with them for a trip. And then they also know what clothing is clean or dirty or what clothing they plan to wear again. Now, I like packing cubes and I recommend them, especially if you're a person that finds it hard to stay organized when you're packing and traveling. However, I typically don't use them myself, and I don't think they're good for wrinkle prevention. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. Next, I want to talk about vacuum packing cubes, which are pretty much like what we just talked about, except these cubes have a little rechargeable vacuum sealer that comes with them to suck the air out of the cube once you've packed it full of clothes. Then you seal the vacuum hole with a cap, and the packing cube stays tight and sealed in your luggage until you release the seal to get to your clothing. I had traveling companions who used these on my last trip, and I have to say I was thoroughly impressed by the brand they used. I recommend Vacbird, that's VACBIRD, rechargeable pump and vacuum bags, which are available in a variety of sizes and combination to fit any traveler's needs, and you can find them on Amazon. They also have a USB option for those who don't want to recharge the pump. Simply plug it in. That's called VacEase. That's VACEA. SE. You can also buy refill bags whenever you need them when your bags are looking a little worn or worse for the wear. This company also makes home organization and storage options. Now, the downside in using these vacuum bags is that they don't prevent wrinkling of your clothes. So as soon as you arrive at your destination, it's probably a really good idea to unseal the vacuum cubes and hang that clothing up as soon as possible so that the wrinkles will fall out. So why don't I use either packing cubes or vacuum cubes when I pack and travel? Well, number one, I'm really organized. I've traveled a lot, both for business and for pleasure, and I know how to pack. Number two, I often buy clothing that doesn't wrinkle or is wrinkle resistant. Now, when I was younger, worked and traveled for business, a full wool merino dress suit with a jacket, a skirt, and a silk blouse, stockings, and high heels was de rigueur for business travel. And I'd have to get up early in the morning at the hotel to press my clothing so I'd look fresh and put together because goodness knows silk blouses don't travel well, especially if you're riding in an airplane or a taxi or on a train for a long time. Nowadays, we're very blessed because we have so many wrinkle resistant fabrics that are used for our clothing. And there are so many designers and manufacturers that cater to travelers. You can really find a huge variety of clothing in stores and online that travel well and they don't wrinkle or they're wrinkle resistant. This type of clothing also tends to be made out of fabrics that are thinner, silkier, and less bulky, so they take up a lot less space in your luggage when packing. Number 3, I've referred to this in previous podcasts, but I wear clothing multiple times during a trip so I don't have to pack as much. If you're traveling for a week, certainly, maybe you'll have the luggage space to take different outfits for every day, and that's great. But if you're traveling for 2 months, that equation quickly changes. So you need to learn how to mix and match clothing. For example, how to wear the same blazer with different pants and tops, how to mix and match your look, how to dress up different outfits with scarves, belts, and accessories. Only pack a few pair of jeans and wash them when necessary. And do the same with your socks, bras, and underwear. You can wash one pair every night in basically 5 minutes. Or if you have a washing machine at your Airbnb, do a load or two of wash every week. Number 4, I've found that rolling my clothes is the best for luggage space optimization as well as wrinkle prevention. Yeah, that's right. If I have something that's really, really delicate, like a silk sequin top, I may roll it in tissue paper to add an extra layer of protection. But really, this method has never failed me when packing. So, how do I roll things, you might ask? Well, I simply lay items out on the bed and then I fold them in half lengthwise and again widthwise if necessary. And then starting at whichever end makes sense, I start rolling. I put it in the suitcase and I build up from there. It's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. Now, I don't secure the rolled item with a rubber band or a string. I just let the weight of the item keep it rolled. So, when packing for spring, summer, or a fall trip where I'm going to be swimming, boating, or in a sunny location, I also usually pack several large brim designer hats to wear with sundresses or resort wear. Now, even though they're large, and they need support in my suitcase, I managed to keep them in really good shape by turning the hats upside down, stacking my clothing rolls around the hats to support the wide brims and crowns, and then putting soft undies and socks in the crowns of the hats to help them keep their shape. This method works beautifully, and my hats always look gorgeous when I unpack them. If you're looking for some beautiful hats that you want to take to your next warm weather location, I love hats by Scalia, and that's Scalia, Scalia. So if you ever purchase one of those, you can know you'll have a well-made, beautiful hat that will travel around the world with you. Number 5, now in the off chance my clothes do happen to wrinkle, I'm a big believer in carrying a travel size bottle of Downy wrinkle release spray with me on my travels. Simply spray it on the wrinkled item of clothing and you can run your hands over the wrinkles and usually they'll fall right out. You can hang the item up, spray it again if necessary, and most of the time the wrinkles will fall right out. So I come to the last and least favorite way of packing a suitcase for space optimization, and that's really just the old-fashioned way of folding your clothing and laying it in the suitcase. Now, it's certainly the way your grandmother did it and everyone before her, and still the way many people pack today. For wrinkle prevention, Certainly, if your suitcase is packed so that it's pretty full, simply folding clothes well and then packing them works okay, I'd say, to prevent wrinkles, as long as the clothes don't shift too much in your luggage during handling at the airport or at the train station or what have you. Now, whatever method of packing works for you, don't change it. If you've packed the same way for your entire life and you're happy with what you do, don't change it. However, if you're tired of running out of space in your suitcase when you're packing for a trip, or if you have trouble finding things that you absolutely know you've packed, and then you have to unpack everything in your suitcase just to find that one little thing, or if you always arrive at your destination with a suitcase full of clothes that are a wrinkled, disorganized mess, you may want to consider giving some of my suggestions a try for your next trip. Do your research, read reviews, and see if using either packing cubes, vacuum cubes, or rolling your clothes the next time you pack for a trip works for you. And I'd love to hear what you think. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember to follow me on Instagram at a lady well traveled, and that's traveled with 2 L's, and to tell your friends and family to follow us on their favorite podcast platform. Until we meet again, remember God loves you and He created this incredible world just for you. You only have to get out there and see it. Bye bye.